Yeah, we have to hit the floor running.
Instead of imagine hitting the ground running, just hit the floor running.
Yeah, hit the floor running. After the bodies hit it, obviously.
Greetings and a good evening.
Welcome to the atarangi.
Today we're doing a movie review.
Today we are covering The Boy and the Heron. Or, as it's more properly called if you translate in Japanese, How Do You Live?
Actually,
Currently
I like that
planned.
better.
Yeah, it is significantly better. Currently, the movie is planned to be Miyazaki's last movie, but I do believe he wants to make more. I doubt he'll be able to finish them though. Man's 82 years old.
I love how he came out of retirement and was like, for like one video, and for like one movie, and then was like, I actually missed this. I'm gonna keep doing it.
For one video, he's a YouTuber.
Yeah. I mean, what is the difference between a good video and a movie? You know?
Linked.
Yeah, pretty much.
I will be playing Townscaper. Townscaper in the background. Let's start with the spoiler-free section.
So, it's a Ghibli movie.
It sure is.
It's my first Ghibli movie ever. Like, I haven't watched any Ghibli. So it was an interesting experience.
Mm-hmm.
What made it even more interesting is that my mother and my sister wanted to go to the cinema. Didn't know what to watch, so I recommended them this movie, which I hadn't watched yet. I told them just go watch this. Director is rated very high. And yeah, so they watched it, they liked it, so they might be getting into anime now too.
Barry out here sending scouts to check out movies for you.
I sent the advanced team ahead. Yeah, I mean, it's a Ghibli movie, so we expected the art style to be good.
It's very good.
It's very good. The backgrounds are, in some scenes, way too detailed. Like, I have no idea why they put so much detailing in it. It's stupid. It looks really good though. And the sound design is also really good. Also the detail in movement.
Oh yeah, the movement is stupid.
Yeah, which I can't say much more about that because that would be a spoiler. So what I can tell you about this movie that isn't technically a spoiler is that this the story is interesting. And this movie definitely requires you to have a brain of some sort. Do not go to the movie, like to this movie, if you have a snotty nose or whatever, because your brain is gonna be off. Don't do it when you're tired. Your brain is gonna be off and you're not gonna be able to follow. Even I missed a bunch of stuff, and I will need to watch this movie at least 5 more times before I can actually like half understand what's going on.
A lot of it is left up to interpretation.
But it is funky, and I like it, so...
It sure is. So let's get into the spoilery section, because I don't think Barry enjoys being in the spoiler-free section.
No, because like I'll have to jump back and forth, I don't like it.
This is Klaus from the future. I forgot to do this, so I'm doing it at the end of the video. Here's the scoring sheet before we go into the spoiler section.
The first thing that I'm gonna say is, and that's something that I have noticed when watching anime in general, but the older stuff or the stuff made by older directors leans more towards like World War II and conflict and that sort of stuff.
I mean, Miyazaki lived through that, so...
Yeah, makes sense. And then like the newer stuff is more like capitalism and stuff like that, which is really funny. I mean, it's not funny, but like it's funny that there's like this difference. I don't think you notice it as much because there is definitely like in Western movies, there is probably the same, but you probably don't notice it as much. I really like that about it. I like anime is pretty good though. What I also wanted to say is that it's a Ghibli movie, and with the Ghibli movie there comes talking animals. That's at least from like the Ghibli clips I've seen. I think pretty much every movie of theirs has a speaking animal, and this time it was the Heron.
It was the Heron and the parakeet.
Yeah, the parakeets were also talking technically. Yeah.
And the... What are they called? The pouchbirds.
The what?
The what? The pouchbirds. The extra chunky seagulls.
Oh yeah. Don't know their name.
Forget what. I do, but because I'm trying to come up with it, I can't.
Stop it now.
Stop it now!
The first scene of the speaking bird, like where he like appears and he shows that he has teeth, but not really. Really creepy, I guess.
I like it.
Wasn't expecting that, but it's a really good scene.
We'll show a picture here.
Yeah, and overall, I really like the movie. Now,
Yes,
going back to those details that I was talking about in the not spoilered section, because the details in this movie are great. There is a scene, and I don't know if we're gonna be able to show this, but there's a scene where one of the characters gets into like a car, and it like actually like hobbles the suspension and like compresses it, and like the car is actually moving as they're moving around on the vehicle. That goes for pretty
the car
much every
bounces
vehicle.
around.
Like the physics objects, like why would they be animated? You know, like most movies are not really animated or whatever, but like they are so well done, and kind of exaggerated, because it probably wouldn't move as much as this.
Like the boy breathes in this scene if we can find it, and the whole bed just bounces around for a bit.
The other one that I really liked is at some point they'll have him like lying in the bed and he's breathing, and there's like a crease line of his shirt that's appearing and disappearing, which is also like a very nice detail. So like they go like way over the top.
Yeah.
Klaus, I think you noticed some 3D models?
Yeah, there's some 3D models, I forget where they are, but there's a bit of 3D here and there, but there's not much.
Yeah, I noticed what I think is one 3D model, which would be the alien thingy at the end.
The rock.
The rock, yeah.
It might be.
I think that's a 3D model. For the rest, I didn't notice any of them.
Yeah, if they're there, it looked to me like they were there. They're very well integrated.
Yeah.
I mean, they better are. They had literally every single one of the best animation studios of Japan working on this. Literally all of them.
Literally.
Like the Demon Slayer team was on this, the Your Name team was on this. Another studio that exists mostly out of ex-Ghibli employees was in this. Like everyone was here.
So, did you work on this movie? Yes.
If you are from Japan, you might also have worked on How Do You Live?
Yeah. Coming back to those characters, we have our main character, who is a boy. Not really much to say about him. Just a regular old boy.
Except that the boy is Miyazaki.
Wait, really?
Miyazaki's dad used to build canopies for airplanes. In World War II.
Oh, okay.
Miyazaki's mother died to, almost died, she didn't die, but she almost died to tuberculosis.
Okay.
And after that, Miyazaki himself never actually got along with her again. So from his perspective, she might as well have died.
Okay, yeah.
To the tuberculosis. Like, a lot of this movie is based on Miyazaki himself.
I didn't know that. That's actually really, really cool. And kind of sad, but it's really cool. Whatever. I like the locations that we go to, because we're in Tokyo in the beginning, and then the war I think breaks out, or like it's already
the war gets closer.
Like it's. I guess it was already on, but the war gets closer. So they were in Tokyo, and like the hospital the mother was staying at was attacked.
Miyazaki made the same move, by the way, from Tokyo to the same region that they go to.
Yeah, but like the hospital burned down. That fire looked so good.
That fire is based on Miyazaki witnessing a 2-story hospital burning down from his bedroom.
Okay.
When he was a small child.
Okay. Because it looked so real and like so good.
I love when
like it's a full wooden hospital in like the classic Japanese shrine style. Like I don't know what do you call it, because it was like the if you've watched Demon Slayer, not Swordsmith Village, but the previous arc where they went to the other district. What was it called again?
Entertainment district.
Yeah, the entertainment district. So like that typical building style. And like that was pretty close to the hospital. I'm not sure what those buildings are called. I should research that. Hey Kowalski, tell me. Like, put it in the video.
Do it now.
I do it now. Because like that building style is really cool, and like I immediately knew it was that type of building. But like, it's still on fire, and it's all wood, so it like burns really bright. And just the mix of all of those things was just incredible.
Yeah.
Like, I have witnessed large wood fires, because in this country they used to burn stuff. Like Christmas trees that were stacked all on top of each other. So, definitely not as large as an entire building catching on fire, but you can kind of scale it up.
I've had school in a building. Well, not in a building. In a forest, whilst the forest was on fire.
What? How have I never heard this story before? Why are you removing this island?
I don't like it.
Then build it again.
Exactly.
So we have the boy, what used to be the mother, because she kind of died. Then we have the dad, who, as you told before, is building canopies for airplanes. Then we have...
That's That's a common thing in Ghibli movies, because Miyazaki hates war with a burning passion, but he absolutely loves fighter planes.
I mean, they're cool. It's like how guns are cool. What they're used for usually isn't. And that's a controversial opinion, I know, but, you know. I said it anyways. Then we have, I think that's when we get to the new town, right?
Yosh.
And then we have the plus mom, I guess you can call her.
It's the original mom's sister.
Oh, really?
Yosh.
Okay.
That used to be a common thing in Japan, to marry your wife's sister if your wife would die.
Okay, well that's... I'm too much of a Western to know that. But I am glad to have learned, even today. But it's you can still call him the plus mom. Call her the plus mom, I guess. She lives in a shrine,
stepmom,
like temple.
Yosh.
Shrine, I think it's a shrine. No, whatever. And there's a heron there, which.
A grey heron, to be specific.
Then apparently somebody, like an old uncle or something, once built like a building nearby around what later on gets revealed as to have been a meteorite. And that's basically what the entire story revolves around. Now, there is people who work at the shrine who cannot hear the animals that talk.
Yosh.
Did I recall correctly? Yeah. And that makes it interesting because that means that the plus mom and the boy, who can hear them because they are in the correct bloodline, can hear those animals talking, and eventually the plus mom, who is pregnant, and the boy managed to get into that castle or whatever
Tower.
that they built.
It's called a
Tower. And they kind of like venture in there. You know, everybody starts searching for them or whatnot. But that's basically where the story really gets into gear, because you start meeting new characters again. And
let's first cover a few final things from the real world before we move into the magic world.
Yeah, sure.
So, there's a few things. So, the boy, in case you're sensitive to this, the boy does partake in a bit of self-harm at first, using a rock on his head.
Yes.
So if you're sensitive to that, be warned.
Be aware.
Beware!
I mean, he does that, but I still don't really get the reasoning behind it.
It's actually just self-harm because he's depressed.
Okay, yeah. Entirely
And he's
possible.
depressed because he can't cope with his mother being gone.
Yeah. I mean, that was pretty clear from the story. Maybe he needs to take some copium.
Or opium.
Copium is better.
That's...
Anyhow,
Gets
did you have anything else to mention about the real world, or can I move on?
Maybe a small thing before we go into the magic world. The tunnel he takes into the building when he follows the Heron in has the first half of the inscription on it, like at the top of the arch, of the gates of hell in Dante's Inferno.
Oh, okay.
That's the first part of the inscription of the gates of hell.
Makes sense. It is kind of hell, to be honest. I also love how, like, he climbs, because it's through the first tunnel, right?
Yeah.
Couple more things. Detail. There's stalactites. Those are the hanging ones, right? Coming from the ceiling, and he's like rubbing against them, and like it's scratching his jacket, and there's dust everywhere, and it's really detailed. I love it. Also, he gets to the end of the tunnel, and all of a sudden there's a staircase like halfway through it, which doesn't make any architectural sense, and fire the one who built it. But then again, later on we discover that like stuff's been happening, so it kind of maybe it collapsed or some stuff. I don't know.
It's,
Again, as I said, this movie requires a lot of brain activity.
It's at this point I would like to mention a lot of other Miyazaki movies get referenced in this movie. When the old ladies say a lot of weird disappearances happen here, around these parts, in another way of translating that, they say a lot of people get spirited away, which is one of Ghibli's most popular movies.
Yeah. I guess you're right on that one. Another thing. Actually, no, never mind. I came up empty, and I'm gonna be totally honest about that. Are we ready to travel to the spirit realm?
Yosh. Get the avatar.
Or as what was his name again? Damn, I wanted to make a joke there on the Shadow Realm, but I forgot the character's name.
That's Jimmy Neutron's dad.
Yeah, that's Jimmy Neutron's dad. Right. Whatever.
His name is Jimmy Neutron's dad.
Whatever. So in the Shadow Realm, we first see a lot of seagulls. Stop it now, they're not actually seagulls. I think they're
Pelicans.
they're pelicans. And they're pushing him towards another gate, a golden gate, which reminded me a lot of the golden gate in Ice Age. One of the Ice Ages has that.
That's not what that's referencing.
I know. It's referencing like the gates of heaven or some shit, I think.
Well, it says whoever passes these gates and learns the knowledge will die.
Yeah, that as well.
Which is a bit of a reference to a concept in, I believe... don't worry about it, just more. You'll never know.
You will never know. Oh, Ben Beckman. Anyways, then he gets saved by a character I think named Kiriko, if I recall correctly.
Kiriko, yeah, it's one of the old ladies.
And I only remember that because it's the same name as the girl from Overwatch.
Is it?
Yeah, there's a character called Kiriko now, don't worry about it.
Which Barry Kerr totally knows from the game and not other things.
What? I am not interested in Overwatch, the game, whatsoever.
Exactly. Which is why you know it only from the game and not other things.
I am
Moving on.
only interested in the shorts. Because the shorts are actually, well, they're getting worse, but... I mean, the new character is just basically like,
Maui.
What's the character?
It's Maui.
Yeah, Maui. It's just Maui. That is Maui. He's a demigod of bullets or some shit, whatever.
He's a demigod.
He's a demigod, yeah. Anyways, so we meet Kiriko. Kiriko appears to be one of the mates, or what do we call them?
Yeah, they're mates.
Yeah, mates from the shrine, which is really cool. But she's at a different age.
Yeah, she's younger.
She's way younger. Yeah, whatever. She knows how to sail. Like, she's badass. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty badass.
They catch a big fish.
They catch a big fish. They skin the fish, I think, in the film.
They fillet the fish.
They fillet the fish. And then eat whatever, sell whatever, I don't know.
No, actually, they feed it to these little boys that get born as humans in the other world later.
Oh, that's the ones they're selling it to.
Yeah.
Cool, yeah. They're really cute. I don't know what they're called, I forgot the name, but they're really cute.
Kowalski named them.
Yeah, they're like small white thingies. It's immensely cute, I love it.
The pelicans end up eating a bunch of them.
Yeah, and then somebody shows up on a boat and starts... was it fireworks?
Yeah, fireworks. Himi shows up. That's what the character's called. And that's our main character's mother.
Who, yes, she's dead, but not in this world, and she's way younger.
She's not actually dead in this world. She's from earlier in the timeline. Because at the end, when she goes back to the real world, she has to take a different year's door.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, like, this is with like timeline doors and stuff, and like you can basically select what year you're going to, I guess.
Yeah.
And what planet and whatnot. It's really interesting. The way they made that also is really interesting because it's like a very long circular hallway with like different doors. They play around with it like 2 times, I think.
Yeah.
At the end of the movie and like more closer to the halfway point. I'm not actually sure because the movie is quite long for an animated movie, especially anime movie.
Yeah.
This
is the highest budget Japanese movie ever.
Makes sense. I'm all for it. So yeah, we meet Kiriko. Then eventually we start seeing some images of the guy who's like running that entire like spirit world thing.
Yeah, the grand uncle.
The grand uncle, who also built that tower.
He built the tower. He built the entire world.
He built the entire world after making an arrangement with the alien, Rock, whatever. Which also looks kind of cool. I'm pretty sure that with the textures that we have in Blender, we can literally make it right now. But whatever. Just put that on a car. It's an alien car now. Anyhow, besides the point. It's a really interesting world where animals can talk, and the animals run in factions. I think.
Gosh. A bit.
A bit. And they're like trying to like gain territory and like do stuff.
Well, the parakeets are actively trying to take over the world from the grand uncle, actually. They want the grand uncle to give basically the control of the world to the parakeet king.
Yeah, and the grand uncle is deciding the fate of the world by balancing some blocks.
The grand uncle, by the way, is also Miyazaki.
Oh, what?
Both the kid and the grand uncle are based on Miyazaki.
Makes sense. I'm guessing Miyazaki determined the fate of this movie by balancing some blocks.
Even further, there's 13 blocks. Miyazaki has made 13 movies.
I knew those blocks probably had some significance. At the end of the movie, the boy takes over the world, right?
No, he ends up not taking over the
Yeah,
world.
I mean, he's supposed to, but then he decides he doesn't want to, and then he like has one of those blocks, and that's it. The entire world collapses. They quickly
Due to
get
the
out.
parakeet king cutting down the blocks. The parakeet king ends up ruining everything.
Yes.
Which, the parakeet king is based on distributors of movies. As in, they think they could run everything, but they can't. But still, they need to be there for all purposes, basically.
Yeah.
The Heron is a producer. In fact, he's based specifically on Miyazaki's producer. Which is why he starts off as an enemy, because Miyazaki didn't get along with his producers early on.
Mm-hmm.
But later on he becomes a friend, because Miyazaki eventually became friends with his producers.
Nice. You knowing all of the lore details. I like it.
It's my job.
Hmm?
It's my job.
It's your job. The parakeet king destroying the world is pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The collapsing world looks really good as well.
I also love that the grand uncle gives his blessing at the end. Like, he says it's okay that you don't take over running this world.
Yeah. That makes sense. You can't force someone to do a job.
Yeah, but that's also because this movie is called How Do You Live? The grand uncle doesn't actually want to force his ways on anyone else. He just wants to know what they will do, given the option.
Yeah. Now, overall, like the ending is open in my opinion,
Oh yeah.
but it's a very good ending.
Yeah. Like, on a deeper level, this movie is about making movies.
That's actually really funny.
And, like, when walking up to the grand uncle's workplace, you have all the, like, discarded blocks on the floor. That's discarded movie ideas. And
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
You
and our main
probably toss
character-
away a lot.
yeah, and our main character picking one of them up at the end and taking it with him is basically carrying on the ideas of someone else later on.
Yeah. Like picking up like a broken script and making it. Well, just taking it,
Yeah.
seeing if you can make it work, I guess.
Yeah, and the fantasy world ending is very much a mirror of Studio Ghibli themselves. Because,
No, put that block there. I like that.
yeah, but I don't really like this roof being gone.
Oh. Put another
'Cause,
block on top of that, like make a tower. What does that do? No.
It works better if you do a rainbow tower. If I
Yeah,
turn
but
this
then the
into a
roof is still
lighthouse.
gone, so don't.
Yeah, I was just trying to turn it into a lighthouse.
Ooh.
There we go.
Yay!
No, but Miyazaki has been coming in and out of retirement for ages because he can't be replaced. Without him, Studio Ghibli dies. It has multiple times. Like, they've gone out of work, basically, they've stopped, and then Miyazaki came back and they reopened the studio. Because they are basically just Miyazaki, the studio.
Yeah, but
And-
the thing is, Ghibli has the art style.
Yeah.
Miyazaki has the ideas for the movie. and one cannot live without the other.
Yeah, obviously.
However, controversial opinion. They may be.
Then maybe what?
They may be able to survive. An art style can be adapted to a new, director.
Yes, but
Although
the problem
the
is...
storytelling related to that art style is already locked in.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part.
Yeah, the hard part here is, when going to watch a Ghibli movie, you expect this feeling of magic. And Miyazaki has had several successors that he trained, but they have all died of diseases. There's no director left at Ghibli that's remotely near his skill level.
Honestly, other controversial opinion, I would much rather Ghibli just dies along with Miyazaki.
Yes. But here we go with that you called that a controversial opinion. This movie is Miyazaki's way of saying Ghibli is going to die, and that's okay. Because if you
But still, it's a controversial opinion because people probably don't like what I'm about to say, like what I say. But I want Ghibli to survive, and Miyazaki also wants that. But being the realist in the room, you know that it's not, and that's okay. Because you don't want to pull a Disney, and I know I have to censor that, but it was justified. You don't want to pull a Disney and start crapping out garbage that no one eventually watches anymore, because that's exactly what they've been doing, and Disney has just lost all its credibility. Just let the company die and let the interesting people who are skilled do something else without having all of the fear of having to fill in that back catalog.
Yeah.
Don't become oppressed by what your predecessors did.
Yes. And that's what...
Be yourself. Do your own thing.
That's extremely funny that you say these things, Barry. That's the message of this movie. Because the grand uncle gives our main character his blessing to take the block with him and go home.
Yeah.
And leave the magic world.
And start his own thing.
Yeah, he's basically the end of this movie is Miyazaki saying, my magic world ends with me. This is your chance to leave and go build your own.
Yeah.
In fact, in the movie they say, I leave these 13 magic blocks as my legacy for you to build upon. That's a line from the movie that the grand uncle says.
Yeah.
And that's a line that Miyazaki is saying to us.
Indeed.
He's telling us to go make the art that we believe should be made.
Like us too. We have to follow.
Yeah, us specifically. Yes.
Us
Not you listening to this. Us.
The atarangi has to follow. Follow Miyazaki's legacy.
I sure hope not.
That is definitely not happening. We have good ideas. We want to make animations. We cannot do that.
I don't think I can match the feeling of magic.
No.
I'm more of a grounded storyteller. I go into the whack, and Barry knows this, but I'm more grounded in naturalism.
I mean, you say that you go into the whack, and then I look at this city. In the middle of the town square has a tower in it.
Which one? This one?
Go back to the angle you were holding previously. Bit further. So there's a very big tower in the middle. Yeah, that's the town square, because the other one's just a fortress.
Yeah.
And then the red building, if I'm coming from the tower on the right, I have to cross through a building, cross through another building.
Oh yeah.
To make it to town square.
This line here is just a hallway.
It is basically whack. It is absolutely whack. But I love this type of architecture. It's the same as Night City.
Yeah.
A city like Night City is layers and stuff, and it's very hard to navigate. It makes absolutely no sense, but the vibe you get is awesome.
Yeah.
And that goes perfectly hand in hand with the Studio Ghibli movies, and especially this one.
Yes.
That's it doesn't per se make sense, but the vibe is awesome.
Yeah. So I wanna round this off with saying so, as I said, the 13 blocks represent Miyazaki's 13 movies. I think one of them is a show, not a movie, but 13 creations. And they're all in the world. They're all in this movie. Those 13 building blocks are actually making up this movie. The character crawling through the bushes, there's like circular bushes crawling through to get to the tower. That's a scene directly from Totaro. The grave boats, like the dead outnumber the living here with all of the ghost boats, is a direct reference to the pilot's graveyard with the ghost planes in Porco Rosso. And it goes on like that. Like half the scenes in this movie are adaptations of his own other scenes.
I mean, when we walked out of the cinema, because we're recording this a bit later, and this is actually supposed to be that type of conversation, right?
Yeah.
But when we walked out of the cinema, I literally told you, Klaus, that there's a scene in this movie where the boy is floating up. I think that's when he goes into the spirit realm, yeah? Where he's floating up with his face to the top, and he's floating up out of the water.
Yes.
And they like take a side angle. That shot, and I haven't watched other Ghibli movies, so Klaus had to tell me this, but that shot rang a bell to me because I think the original Ghost in the Shell, maybe it was the second one, but I think it's the original one from 1990 or 80, one of the two, so it's quite old. But that original movie had like a shot that was exactly the same, like same framing, everything. Apparently they did this before in one of the movies.
I'm pretty sure they did.
Klaus is pretty sure they did. I can't tell for sure. I haven't done the research. But that makes sense. Like it would absolutely make sense for them to have done this shot before. It's very iconic. Casually building the wackiest town ever. Like, why would you build it like that? I mean, I would live there, but like...
Well, I totally would live here. For people interested, this game allows you to download 3D models of the towns you build.
I love how we can just export this to Blender.
I have. The Jazzy Port video is made in this. Alright, anything else before the scoring sheet?
Nah, I think I'm all out. I talked way more than I had noted down.
Alright.
But this movie was just great, and I'm kind of just having a nice little chat here with the audience. And I'm just ignoring you. Never mind. But yeah, I think the movie is great. Go watch it. Onto the scoring sheet. And as you can see, we gave this movie a good score. Which means we do recommend it, obviously. Let's start on the top of the wheel and evaluate our scores. So world building, well, there's a lot of it, but it doesn't get explained very well, so we couldn't give it too high of a score, but it's a fun world and it's kind of the point of the movie. Yeah, it's pretty vague.
Onto the sounds. The music was very good, the mix was very good. Barry noticed a lot of the background sounds, so go ahead and go over that.
So the music, it's good enough. Well, not just good enough. It's actually really good. For most movies, you would notice the music. For this movie, there is music, and you don't really notice that there's music, which is a good thing. It helps with the vibe.
Yeah. You would really notice if there wasn't music though.
Yeah, you would really notice if there wasn't music. But the music that they chose for this movie, and they made specifically for this movie, was perfect. The mix is good.
Yeah, the mix is good.
Not really much to say about that. Like there's no moments where it's bad, where there's like something missing. There's no moments where you can't hear dialogue or whatever. So the mix is good. The background sounds, or as I like to call them, big game sounds. Well, while in the cinema, I actually mentioned to Klaus a couple of times some of the background sounds. And one of the scenes that I remember is on the boat, on the deck of the boat, right before the Wara Wara start to fly up. The boy is walking out to help an animal. I don't remember exactly which one.
It's a pelican.
Is it a pelican? Yeah. And the footsteps on the deck are not just real. They are slightly more than real. Like, you feel like you're there.
Yeah, they're more realistic than real life.
That happens in multiple spots where the sound design is just so good. Like, I mentioned the detail in the car movement. Well, every time the suspension got pressed by the cart or the car or whatever, it made a squeaky noise.
Yosh.
Like, every action goes with some background sound. And the background sound itself is also very detailed and very realistic and well made.
And also very
balanced.
pleasant to listen to.
Yeah, and pleasant to listen to, because you can have background sound that is super annoying. But they didn't, which is cool.
On to the set design. So props, there's a lot of them.
I mean, take any shot from inside of a building, and I'm quite sure you will find at least 5 props.
There's so much stuff.
Like the most of the insides of the buildings have like pots, pans, cups,
Plates.
Like there is
Cans.
like everything. Like it's like someone lives here.
Yeah.
Instead of just having
That's a good way
an
to
almost
say it.
empty room.
Everything. That's a good way to say it. Everything looks lived in.
Yeah. The environments are
Well, that's Ghibli.
Studio Ghibli.
The nature environments always look great in any Ghibli thing.
Not
Like,
myself.
start typing Ghibli into YouTube and you'll find tutorials on how to do the nature.
Yeah.
Because it's the golden standard.
Yeah. And then architecture.
So, it's Ghibli architecture, which means it's like, it looks a bit cobbled together and nature kinda started taking over most of the buildings. That's how Ghibli architecture usually is, and it all looks very warm and very cozy.
Yeah. And they nailed that. But it also just looks super cool, so, you know.
Yeah, indeed.
Story. Well,
It's purposefully confusing.
it's a double-edged sword in this movie. The story is very difficult.
There's so many layers to it.
But it's also very simple. It's
It's like an
ogre.
onion. We said both sides of that joke at once.
And we are keeping that.
And with that, we'll move on to acting.
The acting is okay.
For your information, we watched this in Japanese.
Yes.
We haven't seen the English version, so we can't speak
I've
to
seen
that.
the trailer for the English version. I'm not sure if that's the original voice actors that they used for the film itself, whatever. The trailer that I saw seemed to be decent.
It usually is for Ghibli.
But that's all I'll say about it. The voice acting in Japanese was okay. Nothing
Yeah.
bad, nothing good, nothing
Like,
outstanding,
there was nothing that
terrible.
stood out, either way.
So, just half. Just half score because it's top either way.
And then, characters. Main
The
big spot
design-
of the movie.
Yeah, it's a big spot of the movie. The designs of the characters are all recognizable. You can
That
see
is
a character and know which one it is, except for the maid, but you'll be able to say this is a maid.
I mean, the maids are like... They move like a one person.
Yeah.
They move like one big living entity.
Yeah,
So that's... I think it's the point that you don't really tell them apart too much.
Yeah. Personalities they don't really focus on this in
Yeah.
the movie, and they don't need
Many
to.
characters straight up do not have a personality.
Yeah, but they don't need to in this movie because that's not what the movie is about.
Nah.
This isn't a movie that you watch for the personality of each character and like doing a full analysis on their life. It's if we're talking about where the focus on the characters in this movie is, it's more on their roles.
Yeah. What do they represent? What do they
What's-
carry the story forward
What's
with?
their purpose, you know?
Gosh.
The Heron is supposed to be the guide. He's kind of bad at it at first, but he gets better. The boy is kind of meant to be the focus of the movie. Kiriko is kind of meant to teach the boy a bit about the spirit world, and Himi is then sort of meant to like go and ease the boy. Is like, it's okay that I die. You know, it's okay. People die. That's the point.
Yeah, Himi has to give our boy permission to move on, basically.
Yeah, basically, and so like it's put together really well. Yeah, each character fills their role. You know, the mates are meant to just bring joy, I guess. Randomness.
Alright, let's move on to the visuals. So, Ghibli in it.
Yeah, Ghibli in it.
Almost perfect scores.
Great style, great quality, great consistency.
Yosh.
Ghibli in it. There's not much more to say. The brow for this movie, I mean, we went over this in the review a couple of times. It's pretty highbrow.
Yeah, there's a lot of symbology. There's a lot of... If you're not paying a lot of attention, you're gonna be completely lost at what's going on.
Yeah. And I guess because of that, we gave the movie the novelty check.
Yeah. Basically, on that bar, you see where it transitions into red. If it goes into the red, you need to be big-brained to watch. So you don't need to be big-brained to watch this. But
you can enjoy it without being big-brained.
Yeah. When it goes into the red,
some
in
stuff.
my opinion, it's not a movie you can enjoy without being big-brained. So that's where that border lies. We gave this movie a novelty check for the amount of magical feel that it gives you.
Yeah. Reminds me of the straight-up OG Disney stuff.
Honestly, those are not that good if you rewatch them.
Oh, yeah, probably. But
I wanna...
when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the feeling this movie gave me 20 years later.
Is it the fooling it gave you?
The feeling it gave me. And
I wanna, before we round off, point out something funny here. So our main polygon here in the middle doesn't actually end up being that big, even though this is the movie we've given the most perfect scores to ever.
yes.
And we'll see you next time.
Let's go on an Oot.